Are we going there? Yes, we are. Let's talk about in-laws.
Not in-laws.
In-laws.
I'm Krista, and this is Jay, and this is Say I Do Forever. Hope you can follow along if you want to do scary topics, topics that might be a little controversial, but could help your marriage. With in-laws, just like any outside source or any outside distraction, they could damage your marriage heavily. So today we're going to talk about in-laws. So
some could be outlaws.
We'd love
some could
to
be just in-laws.
We would actually love to hear from you guys as well. So in the comments, you've got to tell us, some scenarios, ask us some questions. Maybe we will even answer those in following videos, or we'll even answer you right there. But we're not perfect, but we've been around long enough to know some of the problems.
That's right.
So what are some of those problems, Jay?
Oh boy. I think a lot of the stresses in marriage are stressful enough without having your in-laws, and I'm talking any of your in-laws, and you know what, it could be even in any of your relatives, let alone just your in-laws, but today we're focusing mainly on in-laws. But you have enough stress in your marriage to deal with, let alone having the outside influences of different opinions of different people saying, well, I wouldn't have done it that way, you should do it this way, you guys shouldn't do that because that ain't gonna work, that ain't gonna happen, you guys are gonna fail, blah blah blah. I mean, it's just all constant negativity, and as a couple, you don't need that. I mean, thank God, I think for me, for my in-laws have actually been great. They started out pretty intense when we were first married because they knew that they wanted our marriage to go a certain way. And now they support us in what we do. And I'm blessed to have my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. They're praying for us. They're backing us 150%. And, it's been good now. So I'm very thankful for them.
And even with that, there's been pressure and, things we have to work out even after 33 years together, or 33 years married and 35 together. Always having to have some struggles. So we won't officially talk about people, but we'll just give scenarios.
Scenarios are good.
Yeah. So say an in-law, has a personality that's kind of controlling and wants everything to go their way. What do you do in that situation?
Well, depending on what personality you have.
That's the hard part, is you're dealing with so many different personalities. I think that's what it really comes down to, is personalities.
And the thing about it too is, if you have a strong-willed personality, you're going to be able to push back. If you have a meek and mild personality where you're just very laid back and chill, you're going to have a tendency to let them railroad you, which I don't think is good, because then that's not healthy, because then they think they can railroad you every time they come up with a great idea for you in your marriage or a decision. So, it's almost like, even if you are very, very chill, very laid back, that you do need to hold your ground, when they come at you with this brilliant idea that is not so brilliant, but they think it is. It's almost like, what was I going to say? It's almost like people that say to you, well, God told me to tell you this. But then you think, did he really? Or is that just your opinion? So you got to kind of feel it out and see the direction that it's going. And, just go from there. You want to add anything?
Well, it's hard to talk about, especially when many of the people we know watch this. So it's always hard to talk about ourselves, and it's always hard to talk about our own scenarios. But we do have family members that are very controlling, and it's taken years of us trying to figure it out. What Jay is probably talking about is a personality like mine who is a little bit more submissive and kind of will follow along and not want to stir things up. And I think that's where a marriage starts to struggle, is when you have one of the spouses that is like, no, we're not going to be pushed around. We're not going to do everything they want to do. We're not going to do it their way every single time. And then the other person who just doesn't want conflict and wants to just kind of allow it to happen because it's less of a struggle than if you fight against it. Because
well, it's a what is it called? It's a point of contention, but it's where you have to
conflict.
It's conflict. Yeah, and a lot of the people that are very chill and mellow don't like conflict, so they'll just like let it go.
And I happen to be one of those. In fact, here we have swivel chairs for the first time.
I really like these swivel chairs.
We're here in my sewing studio and my alteration studio, and we were just running out of backdrops, and it's a little chilly outside, believe it or not, middle of August.
Yeah, it's surprising today.
But with our swivel chairs, we can actually turn to each other and ask.
Talk and then turn back. And then...
How do you feel about that? So, one of our biggest struggles is someone who's very strong-willed in our family and who wants things that person's way. And I am somebody who does not want to upset the cart. I do not want to...
Krista doesn't like to rock the boat.
I don't like to rock the boat. And I've found through the years that if you try to go against, some of that, it actually creates more problems. And so I tend to give in but then that is somebody who wants to take more and more and more, and there's never any stopping. So my fault on that is that I've created I don't know if that would be codependency, but I have created with this family member, I've created a thing where they can just take advantage and do what they want all the time, and they always get their way. And that's not good it's fine that I have a relationship if it's not bothering me to just let them have their way. It's different when you're married because it's affecting my spouse.
Right.
And so I think, that's in that scenario, it's important to what we're going to talk about at the end about getting together and figuring out what you're going to do in every single situation, and have boundaries and work together to become kind of just better. You're just growing as people. And I think that's the point of marriage, is that you're not going to go right out of the gate feeling all like, okay, we do this perfect. Okay, if we do this. No, it's always a learning and growing. And even after 33 years of marriage, we have to still learn and grow and try to get better at it.
Yeah, and if you have a marriage that's like just a checklist of boxes, you're not going to have a very loving, nurturing relationship. You're not going to have a good, strong, healthy marriage.
Yeah,
it's not
you have
just
to
about
always,
checking the boxes.
And that's why, we don't have the perfect marriage, but we're always willing to grow and get a little bit better. And okay, we didn't do that so well. Let's try to do that a little bit better this time.
Yep.
So, we're still a work in progress there, but we're getting better at communicating that.
Yeah.
But there's some other scenarios with in-laws. So, what about an unhealthy relationship between one of the spouses and another, and say a parent? There are some that are mama's boys, and I'm not saying my husband is.
It's okay, I am.
Yeah, he's a mama's boy, but it's not a bad relationship. He loves his mama very, very much. But there are some that almost listen to their mom and not their wife, and take everything to their mom and talk to their mom, and they haven't what does the Bible say? To leave and to cleave.
Yeah.
So you leave, even the Bible says that you basically leave your parents, and then you cleave, which means to hang on to your spouse. And so that's what's supposed to happen, is a healthy marriage changes the relationship between you and your parents, because you've grown up now, and now this is the most important relationship.
And when I was younger, I was a mama's boy. I'm not a mama's boy now, because I went 850 miles away from my mother. So I didn't stay at my mom's house and tell Krista, okay, well, we're going to live with my mom and we're going to have our family under my mom's roof and all that stuff. No, that's not what we did. I left, and I cleaved to my wife and left my mom. I love my mom very much. I'm not saying that I don't love my mom. I'm just saying that you do the leave and cleave. You're supposed to honor your wife after you're married, and that's what I've been trying to do.
And your spouse becomes your best friend.
Absolutely.
And your spouse becomes the person you confide in, and your spouse becomes that. Although, I think that there's also a healthy relationship you need to keep with your parents, to a certain point, as long as it's not affecting your marriage. I know that there are a lot of women who have connected either very deeply with their dad or very deeply with their mom. And anytime something goes wrong in their relationship, they immediately go running to mom or running to dad. And the problem with that is that you will go on to forgive your spouse, but your parents will not. They will hold a grudge because that you are their child. So I think it's important to have a healthy boundary there with your parents. That yes, especially this is a hard area, because if you're being abused in your relationship, you need to not keep that quiet, and you need to go to your parents. Or go to your sister, or go to somebody in your family. So that's like a different situation. If there's abuse, you need to be letting other people know and not hiding it. But without abuse, besides that, you don't run to, just like you don't go to Facebook, or you don't go to a social media thing to spill out all of your dirty laundry. You also don't do that to your parents. You can say, hey, we're struggling with this or struggling with that, but you don't give them all the nitty-gritty details. You don't give them a play-by-play. You don't make your spouse the villain in their eyes.
Well, and you can, if you have an issue you're dealing with your marriage, you can always tell them that you have an what is it called, unspoken prayer request, so they can just pray for you instead of
they don't have to have all
instead of just blah everything, and then it's then they hold a grudge against her or against me. You're married for a reason. You work as a team. You work out your differences. You work together. That's what being a team is all about, especially in marriage.
Exactly. So I think, I know there's other scenarios in in-laws. You could have brother-in-law that's controlling because maybe he was the head of the house and is worried about you. Maybe you have a controlling aunt, or a controlling, I'm trying to think of all the different scenarios.
Or maybe there's a lawn service that is mowing the yard next door, and you just want to go take his lawnmower, turn it off, and throw the keys out in the street. Just saying.
What is that noise?
It just so happens that that's today's Wednesday, or
Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday, and it's his mow day. So
it's because whenever we turn on the camera, that stuff happens.
Absolutely. That's okay.
So please excuse the
That's okay.
sound in the background.
I think everybody can still hear us, so we're good.
Exactly. Please let us know in the comments, some things you struggle with. And I don't think that this is necessarily has to do with just in-laws.
Right.
or your family. I think that this also could be you have some unhealthy friendships.
Yeah. 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 Why would you want to surround yourself with toxic friends?
Yeah.
If you have, if you're a husband that's struggling in your marriage, why would you want to ask your single friends, your drinking buddies, for advice? To me, that makes no sense. You aren't going to seek the counsel of fools for wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gotta just, think hard about where you're going to get your wise counsel from.
Exactly. Yeah. Because friends can give really bad advice.
Especially single people. I'm sorry.
Or divorced people that are giving great marriage advice.
Yeah, you're just not gonna want to go down that road because they don't know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even married.
Yeah.
If you're wanting marriage advice, go to somebody who's been married 20, 30, 40, 50 years and ask them. Mm-hmm. Say, this is what we're going through.
Yeah.
What is your opinion? What should we do in this situation?
And we're not,
seek wise counsel.
We're not saying, like, even to in-laws or something, maybe you have a very wise mom or dad and everything, and you can come together and say, we're struggling with this. What do you think? So you have to weigh that, because there are some people that have some wonderful parents.
I'm talking friends.
And friends.
I'm talking friends. You're not going to want to get counsel from your single friend or your drinking buddy or whatever. Mm-hmm. You're going to want to go to a wise couple that's married and get your advice from them.
Yeah.
Wisdom is very, very valuable. Wise friends are very, very valuable to have.
Exactly. Well, and I think that also brings us to our third point, which is to talk about all these things with your spouse and come up with a game plan and come up with rules and come up with boundaries. The two of you are the only people who know your scenario exactly.
And you can do it just as you did your goal setting. You can come up with a game plan just like you did your goal setting. What's the most important to you? What's the most important to your spouse? Mm-hmm. Think about it, write it down, and come together or brainstorm together and write down the things that you want to set your perimeters for your relationship with your in-laws or your friends. Mm-hmm. If you have a friend that drives your spouse absolutely wacko, bonkers, maybe you should back off that friendship. Maybe you should just, cut ties or something. I don't know. You need to figure out something because you don't want to get abrasive with your spouse if your friend is creating the problem. You don't want that. And especially if they're not being wise counsel on top of just giving you just bad feedback or bad
advice. Sometimes people give advice on what is going to help them. Yeah. So they're almost selfish. So like in-laws or anything relatives are going to give you advice on what's going to be best for them. Not necessarily what's best for you. Now, some are very wise and they can give you really good counsel on what's good for you.
Right.
Same with friends. They're going to give you the advice that keeps you their friend. They're going to give you the advice that keeps you around and keeps you coming back to them. They're going to also sometimes just be on your side, no matter if you're right or wrong. Wise counsel isn't afraid to tell you you're wrong.
Right.
Nicely. Wise counsel isn't afraid to say, hey, what if you maybe approach this a little different? So you can tell the difference between wise counsel. Right. If the counsel you get agrees with everything you say, it's probably not wise counsel.
Yeah. You can't be right 100% of the time, especially when it comes to your marriage.
Yeah.
You're not going to be right 100% of the time.
Especially if you're studying the Bible and everything you are reading or pulling out of the Bible agrees with your point of view, you may not be fully reading the Bible, because truly reading the Bible and truly letting the Holy Spirit kind of work on you will point out things that you need to change.
Yeah.
Because even if your spouse is mostly wrong in a situation, you're probably a little wrong in that situation too.
Yep.
And it might even be 50-50. It might even be that more you than them, so
Just like you guys know, there's always two sides to a story.
yeah.
So, I mean, you're telling your friend your side, but there's
Mhm.
also your spouse's side. So you can't get your friend to jump on the bandwagon when there's a whole other side of the story.
Yeah.
So
And if you
be
want,
careful of
if
who
you want
counsel
great,
with.
if you want friendship,
Get counsel
then
from.
go with that, because you're going to have some, great friends around you, but you may not have
Yeah.
a marriage. But if you want a marriage that lasts, be wise.
Mm-hmm.
Connect here more than you connect out there.
Yeah.
Listen more here than you connect or listen out there.
Yeah, hear what they're saying.
Yeah. And hear what they're saying. And also, don't let your in-laws set the tone for your marriage.
Yeah.
In other words, the tone of the two of you should not be set by your in-laws. The tone of a family gathering should not be set by the person who has the largest mental illness, or is the most dysfunctional.
Yeah.
The hard part is usually the person with the most dysfunction is the one who sets the tone, the one who kind of creates that whole thing. Somehow, and I'm not the person that's good at resetting that tone, so I need to learn that. But maybe being honest together, and one spouse telling the other spouse, you're getting railroaded, and I don't like to see you like that. Or when I'm with that person, I feel belittled. I need you to stand up for me. So you guys need to have an honest conversation that has no emotions in it.
Yeah.
And then one of the spouses might be weak. I happen to be the weak one, where that person can control me really easy. So I need the help of my spouse to say, can I help you figure out, let's work through some scenarios. How can I help you to become stronger?
Yeah, or I can just tell them, I'll set them straight. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Yay, I can't wait for Christmas.
Yeah. Love holidays. Just kidding.
Oh
boy.
And I think
the other thing I was going to say is and holidays are hard. Holidays are really hard. So if you have a negative in-law, whether it's a negative father-in-law, a negative mother-in-law, a negative brother or sister-in-law, whatever, you can't do anything really to force them to change, but you can mentally, you can change. So if they throw out a negative, you can always throw out a positive and say, well, you know what, at least, we were able to get together this year. Or, you know what?
So glad to have you in my home.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to make it. I'm so glad that you brought that casserole again. You can just, there's a way that you can be nice and convey more of a positive aspect, so you don't have World War III at Thanksgiving or Christmas. I mean, you can do it.
And maybe humor.
Exactly.
Maybe humor is really, really
exactly.
good.
Yeah, humor is really good.
Just see it as...
See it as what?
Just see it as, this is a funny little comedy act or something, instead of, oh my gosh, my life is over.
You guys have seen a lot of those shows that are holiday shows or Christmas specials or that are comedies that you laugh because you realize that this dysfunctional family you're watching on like Clark Griswold in the Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase, you can relate because you have these dysfunctional members of your family. You can't do anything about it, but you really do need to make the best of it.
Yes.
You can be...
Accept.
You can be... Let me say this. You can be the thermometer, or you can be the thermostat. You don't have to be a thermometer. You can set the tone. You can set the temperature. You don't have to escalate when the temperature rises in the room. You don't have to lose it. You can stay calm, and you can set the
and
thermostat.
even easier if you're a team.
Exactly.
Because if you go into that Christmas holiday or whatever, having discussed what's probably going to happen, this is how we're going to react.
And we know it well.
And everything, and let's stand as a united force.
Yep.
And we will not turn this into a battle. We're
Right.
going to, be lighthearted. We're not
Right.
we're going to be like water on a duck.
Yep.
Let it roll off our backs.
Yep.
And I think you can have a much better holidays, much better family
sure.
reunions.
For sure.
And you can come out better in your marriage for it. And also goals. You need to keep your goals and dreams your goals and dreams.
Yeah.
So you don't want, we just did the goal setting. You sat here and just, together figured out what your goals are. You're reaching for those goals. You're trying everything. And then you share those with a family member, and guaranteed you're going to come up against people who don't think that was a great idea.
Exactly.
So don't let them control your dreams and goals.
Because you guys all know, you have that relative, oh, that's dumb. Oh, that's stupid. I wouldn't do that. Why didn't you do this?
How are you going to ever do that?
Yeah. You're going to have it. You're going to have pushback. But
yeah, you'll always have debt. You're never going to be debt free. Yep. Everybody always has debt.
Yep. And we are debt free other than our house payments.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Why do you live so frugally? Why do you, whatever that is, but, or maybe it's because you're going to buy your dream house, or maybe it's the way you raise your kids. That's a big one. If they don't agree with how you raise your kids. Yeah. So I just say the answer to that is to get together and work on these problems as a team.
Yeah.
Communicate without emotions. Try not to say, every time we go to my parents' house, you want to just be like, hey, when we're at your parents' house, I feel belittled, or I think you talk too much to your mom and you're giving her all of our information, or, and so on and so on. But we would love to hear what you think.
Yeah, comment down below.
Yeah, are you looking forward to the holidays? Are you looking forward to Christmas and Thanksgiving and all of that? It's coming. It's coming quick.
Yep. 3 or 4 more months.
Yeah, so comment in the comments below. Also tell us if you have a great relationship with your in-laws.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe to the channel too, because we've been having a lot of fun doing these videos for you. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying them too.
Yeah, and we have so many more topics to cover.
Oh yeah.
So definitely subscribe so you can follow us. Hit the bell so that you'll be notified when we have a new a new video, and we'll keep trying. And then also put in the comments if you want us to conquer another topic, and we'll keep cranking out the videos. And we love seeing you here, and we appreciate you.
Another hot topic.
Yes, exactly.
And this is Jay and Krista helping you say I do forever. Until next time, see you guys.
Bye.